In section 7, we're going to set up your first scene. To do that, we are going to need to incorporate the Microsoft particle sample. Then we're going to set up the scene. That includes adding some models. Then we're going to introduce the concept of lighting and put that into our scene. Then we are going to create a scene file and load it at runtime. And finally, we're going to go in and debug the metadata, move some stuff around in our scene, and just give you an idea of how that works. Diving into the code, we'll see that there's going to be some content, so we'll add that. And in the game components, we'll add Microsoft stuff. So I made this as a folder. I've put the particle systems into a separate folder underneath this. I've created a class called particle master. This takes all of the initialization that was in the sample in the sample game.cs and moves it into a separate class. Then I have this inherit from drawable game component. And then I have added two particle systems here. I've added one that I call a fire pit particle system, and another one that I found by accident while I was trying to make a ball of fire that is called a fire pillar. This one is included, however, we're not going to be using it. I'm going to be focusing on the fireball. I've also added the appropriate code in here to support a fire pit for the particle state, and created a method called update fire pit, which goes through and produces, instead of a random point on a circle, it produces a random point in a circle. Go into our game here, fire this up quick just so I can show you what we've got currently. So right now, I've gone through and I've cleaned out a bunch of the stuff that we had been using in the previous tutorials because we want to have a clean slate here. So that all that we have at this point is just the cameras rotating around the origin. Okay, so let's go in here and add the game stuff. So we go into our game and add the particle stuff. We need to include that. So we add our particle component. So then we also need to initialize our particle master particle component, and we'll have a nice ball of fire there. So let's get a little ways away from here so we can take a look at it. There we go. And there's just a burning ball of fire. So the particle sample, pretty straightforward. Let's go back in here so I can show you this. You'll see in the fire pit particle system that we've changed a bunch of the settings from the normal fire, and we've changed the size of some of these things. Okay, so let's move on to adding in some models to make this look more interesting.